Welcome to my channel, Rise Up with Steve. Please hit like, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Let me tell you something. Some women, they've been through it all. They've been overlooked, undervalued, and underestimated. But here's the thing, the woman who knows her worth doesn't beg, she doesn't plead, and she doesn't waste her time on people who can't see her value. She understands one simple truth. She deserves respect, love, and someone who will show up every single day, not just when it's convenient. Now, I want you to listen real close. Life will throw people at you who think they can take advantage of your kindness. They'll come with sweet words, big promises, but no actions. That woman, she's not falling for that. She's watched enough, learned enough, and she knows that settling for less than she deserves is not an option. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. See, too many of us make the mistake of confusing attention with love, convenience with commitment, and charm with character. But the woman who knows her worth, she sees through all that. She looks for substance, integrity, and someone who respects her dreams as much as he respects himself. She doesn't compromise her values, and she doesn't trade her peace of mind for temporary satisfaction. And here's the beauty of it. When she knows what she deserves, she commands it. She sets boundaries, she speaks her truth, and she walks away from anything that doesn't meet her standards. And don't get it twisted, she's not cold or unloving. No, she's powerful, confident, and unstoppable because she understands her own value. She is the kind of woman that raises the bar for everyone around her, including herself. Let me tell you something about self-worth, because too many people don't understand it, and that's why they end up settling for less than they deserve. Self-worth is not something you negotiate. It's not something you bargain over, and it's not something you trade for someone else's convenience. I see it every day. People, especially women, going around trying to convince themselves that it's okay to accept less than what they're worth. That ends today. If you know your value, you will never, ever allow anyone to make you feel small, unimportant, or replaceable. A woman who knows her worth doesn't look for validation from others. She doesn't need someone to constantly tell her that she's enough, because she already knows it. She knows that she is capable, strong, and deserving of love that matches her heart. She knows that she is not defined by what others think of her, by the mistakes she's made, or by the way someone else treats her. And that, my friends, is powerful. Because when you know your worth, you stop allowing people to treat you like you're an option instead of a priority. Now, let's be real. Life is going to test you. People are going to come into your life with smiles, compliments, and sweet words. They are going to try to charm you into accepting something that doesn't honor who you are. But here's the truth. Self-worth is not measured by how charming someone is. It's measured by how well someone treats you consistently. A woman who knows her worth sees through the noise. She can spot fake attention from a mile away because she understands her own value too clearly to be fooled. She doesn't allow herself to be used, and she doesn't apologize for walking away from anything that diminishes her. Self-worth also teaches patience. It teaches you to wait for someone who truly matches your energy, someone who adds to your life rather than taking from it. Too many people rush, too many people compromise, and that's how they end up with relationships that leave them empty and broken. But a woman who knows her worth will wait. She will wait until someone comes along who not only respects her, but cherishes her. Someone whose actions match their words. Because selling is not an option when you understand what you bring to the table. And let me tell you something else. Self-worth is contagious. When you know your own value, it raises the standard for everyone around you. You demand respect, and people either rise to meet it or they leave. You inspire others to recognize their own worth, and suddenly, the environment around you becomes healthier, stronger, and full of people who actually appreciate real value. That is the power of knowing who you are. Self-worth is also about confidence. Confidence isn't about being loud or overbearing. It's about understanding that you have something no one else can replace. You know what you bring, and you refuse to let anyone cheapen it. You stand tall, you speak your truth, and you don't settle for less than you deserve. People will try to convince you that you're asking too much, that you're being picky, or that you're unrealistic. But self-worth laughs in the face of that because it doesn't negotiate with mediocrity. At the end of the day, self-worth is the foundation of everything else. Love, respect, success, and happiness. If you don't know your own value, someone else will define it for you. And 9 times out of 10, they'll get it wrong. But if you do know your value, you live life on your own terms. You choose relationships that elevate you, opportunities that challenge you, and environments that respect you. That is what self-worth looks like in action. And that, my friends, is non-negotiable. Let me tell you something about boundaries, because too many people don't get this. And that's why they keep getting hurt over and over again. Boundaries are not mean. Boundaries are not selfish. And they are certainly not negotiable if you want to protect your value. See, life will constantly throw people at you who think they can take more than they should, who think your kindness is weakness, and who think they can cross every line without consequence. That's why you need boundaries. They are the invisible lines that say, this is who I am, this is what I accept, and I will not let anyone disrespect me. Now, a woman who knows her worth understands the power of boundaries. She understands that her time, her energy, her heart, all of it is valuable. She doesn't let someone waste her hours with empty promises or make her feel guilty for expecting respect. She knows that saying no isn't cruel, it's necessary. Saying no is saying yes to herself. And if you don't understand that, you will end up surrounded by people who drain you, take advantage of you, and never give you what you deserve. Boundaries protect you from that. And they show the world that you respect yourself enough to demand respect in return. Boundaries also teach people how to treat you. If you never set limits, people will push, manipulate, and test you constantly. But when you set a line and stand firm, suddenly the same people who are taking advantage of your patience now have to think twice. They learn that your love, your time, and your energy are not free. They learn that if they want to be a part of your life, they need to meet you where you are, not where it's convenient for them. That is the power of boundaries. They make you untouchable in a world that tries to wear you down. And let me tell you something else. Boundaries are not just about relationships with others. They are about relationships with yourself. They're about protecting your peace, protecting your mental health, and protecting your dreams. Too many people get so caught up trying to please everyone else that they forget to take care of themselves. A woman who knows her worth will not compromise her vision, her goals, or her happiness just to make someone else comfortable. That's what boundaries are for. They create the space for you to thrive without being pulled into drama, manipulation, or unnecessary stress. Boundaries also allow love to be genuine. If you let people cross every line, they may love you, but it's never the right kind of love. True love respects boundaries. True love values you as an equal, not as someone to walk over. And when a woman understands this, she doesn't settle for anything less. She doesn't allow disrespect in the name of affection. She doesn't allow half-hearted effort to masquerade as commitment. She knows that boundaries are not limitations, they are declarations. Declarations that she knows her worth and will protect it fiercely. Here's the thing most people don't understand. Boundaries are freedom. They free you from chaos, from heartbreak, and from disappointment. They free you to focus on yourself, your growth, and the people who truly matter. And when you have boundaries, the right people will step up. The wrong people will step aside. And that's exactly how life is supposed to work. You don't need to beg. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You just need to stand firm, respect yourself, and let your boundaries do the talking. Boundaries are proof that you value yourself. They are proof that you will not settle for less than what you deserve. They are the line between someone who adds to your life and someone who subtracts from it. And a woman who understands this will never ever allow anyone to cross those lines without consequence. She will love fiercely, but she will protect herself fiercely too. That is the essence of self-respect. And that, my friends, is how boundaries protect value. Now listen, I gotta tell you something real about people. Too many of them think that talking is the same as doing. They think if they say the right words, if they flatter you, If they promise you the world, that's enough. But a woman who knows her worth, she doesn't fall for that. She understands that words are cheap, but actions, real actions, show you the truth. If someone loves you, respects you, and values you, it's not just in what they say, it's in what they do. And if the actions don't match the words, you best believe she sees it, she knows it, and she moves on. See, life is full of people who will talk a big game. They'll tell you they care. They'll tell you they're committed. They'll tell you they're going to be there for you. But when the rubber meets the road, where are they? Where are the gestures that back up the promises? Where's the consistency? Where's the proof? A woman who knows her worth doesn't confuse empty words with real effort. She doesn't get caught up in what could be. She looks at what is. And that discernment, that's powerful. It saves her heart from disappointment, wasted time, and heartbreak. And here's the thing, actions don't have to be grand gestures. Sometimes it's the little things that count the most. Showing up when it matters, keeping your word, listening when she needs to be heard, supporting her dreams, being consistent in the small, everyday ways. That's what proves character. That's what proves love. That's what proves respect. And a woman who knows her worth, she won't settle for anything less than those consistent, tangible actions. She won't let a smooth talker fool her into believing in what isn't real. Too often, people confuse charm with commitment. They confuse attention with devotion. They confuse sweet words with true effort. But a woman who knows her worth sees through all that. She understands that words can lie, but actions rarely do. Actions reveal priorities. Actions reveal intentions. Actions show who someone really is. And once you understand that, it changes the game. It changes how you let people into your life, how you give your heart, and how you protect your peace. And let me tell you something else. When you demand actions over words, you raise the bar for everyone in your life. You send a clear message. If you can't show up for me in a real way, I don't have time for you. That's not arrogance. That's self-respect. That's wisdom. Because life is too short to invest in people who can't deliver, who can't follow through, who can't match your energy. You deserve consistency, reliability, and authenticity, not empty promises that evaporate when it's inconvenient. Here's the harsh truth, son. People don't want you to know love without action is meaningless. Respect without action is worthless. Commitment without action is fake. And anyone who doesn't understand that will cost you time, energy, and heartache. A woman who knows her worth, she refuses to waste her time on that. She waits for someone whose words and actions line up, whose promises are backed by effort, whose love is proven day in and day out. That's the kind of standard that protects your heart, elevates your life, and ensures you never settle for less. At the end of the day, actions over words is about clarity. It's about knowing who you can trust and who is all talk. It's about valuing yourself enough to demand proof, consistency, and effort. And when you live your life this way, you create a world where only people who genuinely respect and value you are allowed in. That, my friends, is how a woman who knows her worth ensures she's never fooled, never used, and never settled for anything less than she deserves. I want to talk to you about patience. Because too many people think patience is weakness. They think if you're waiting, if you're not rushing, if you're taking your time, it means you're passive or unsure. But let me tell you something. Patience is one of the strongest weapons you can have, especially for a woman who knows her worth. Patience isn't about sitting around doing nothing. Patience is about waiting for the right person, the right moment, and the right opportunities without settling for anything less than you deserve. See, life will test you. It will put people in front of you who are convenient, who are available, who might look like the right fit at first glance. And if you're impatient, you'll grab onto them and you'll settle. But a woman who knows her value, she understands that the best things in life, the love that lasts, the relationships that grow, the opportunities that truly matter, they come to those who can wait without compromising. Patience allows her to filter through the noise to see the people who are genuinely worth her time and energy. Too many women rush because they're scared of being alone or missing out. They compromise on their standards because someone shows up halfway or says all the right words. But patience teaches a different lesson. It teaches that being alone is far better than being with the wrong person. It teaches that waiting for someone who aligns with your values, respects your boundaries, and matches your effort is not a delay, it's preparation. Because when the right person finally comes along, every moment of waiting will be worth it. And let me tell you, patience is not passive. It's active, it's watching, observing, learning, and strengthening yourself while you wait. It's about improving your life, your mindset, and your emotional resilience. It's about understanding that settling is temporary satisfaction, but waiting for what you truly deserve creates long-term fulfillment. A woman who knows her worth uses patience to empower herself, not to diminish her hope. She doesn't rush into relationships or decisions because of fear or pressure. She moves with intention, knowing that her time is valuable and her heart is precious. Patience also teaches discernment. When you're patient, you can see people clearly. You notice the difference between someone who talks and someone who acts. You notice who is consistent and who is inconsistent. You notice who respects your boundaries and who tries to push past them. You notice who adds value to your life and who takes away. That clarity doesn't come when you're rushing. It only comes when you can slow down, step back, and wait for the truth to reveal itself. And here's something powerful. Patience builds confidence. When you wait for the right person or opportunity, you're telling yourself that you are worthy of the best. You are teaching yourself that your standards are non-negotiable. You are affirming that your time and heart are valuable, and anyone who wants to be a part of your life must rise to meet that standard. That's strength. That's empowerment. That's self-respect in action. At the end of the day, patience is not a weakness, it's a strategy. It's how a woman ensures she never settles. It's how she separates temporary distractions from lifelong commitments. It's how she protects her heart, values her worth, and waits for someone whose love, respect, and effort truly match her own. Patience is quiet power. And when you understand it, you don't just survive life. You thrive in it, stronger, wiser, and ready for exactly what you deserve. Let me tell you something about confidence, because too many people misunderstand it. They think confidence is arrogance. They think confidence is being loud or showing off. But that ain't true. Confidence is power, plain and simple. It's a quiet knowledge of who you are, what you deserve, and what you will not tolerate. And a woman who knows her worth, she walks with confidence, because she understands that her value is not up for debate. She doesn't need anyone to validate her. She doesn't need approval to feel good about herself. She knows her power, and that knowledge changes everything. See, confidence allows you to set your standards high and never settle. It gives you the courage to walk away from people, situations, and relationships that don't honor your worth. Too many women compromise because they doubt themselves. They fear being alone, they fear missing out, and they fear that someone else won't see their value, but confidence wipes all that fear away. When you are confident, you know your worth so clearly that you refuse to accept anything less than what aligns with it. You don't just talk about your standards, you live by them every single day. Confidence also allows you to command respect without demanding it. People can feel it when you walk into a room and own yourself. They can tell when you are secure in who you are and what you bring to the table. And here's the beautiful thing, when you are confident, people rise to your level. They treat you better, they step up, and they recognize that you are not someone to be taken lightly. Confidence makes you untouchable in a world that constantly tries to undervalue women. And don't get it twisted. Confidence isn't about perfection. It's not about having it all together or never making mistakes. It's about knowing that even with flaws, even with past mistakes, you are still worthy, capable, and deserving of the best. A confident woman embraces her past, owns her present, and boldly pursues her future. She doesn't shrink herself to fit someone else's comfort zone. She doesn't apologize for being herself. She understands that her authenticity is her strength, and nothing in the world can replace that. Confidence also empowers you to make better choices. When you know your worth, you no longer tolerate manipulation, disrespect, or half-hearted effort. You make decisions that protect your heart, your time, and your peace. You choose partners, friends, and opportunities that add value, not subtract it. Confidence allows you to trust your instincts, to recognize red flags, and to walk away from anything that doesn't meet your standards. That, my friends, is power, the kind that can't be shaken, bought, or broken. And let me tell you something else. Confidence inspires others. When people see a woman standing in her power, they can't help but be drawn to her energy. They see her self-respect, her boundaries, and her clarity, and it challenges them to level up. Confidence doesn't just benefit you. It raises the bar for everyone around you. It sets the tone for how you are treated, how your voice is heard, and how your life unfolds. At the end of the day, confidence is freedom. Freedom from fear, from doubt, and from people who would try to bring you down. Freedom to demand the respect, love, and opportunities you deserve. Freedom to walk away from anything that doesn't match your value and to say yes to everything that elevates you. That is the power of confidence. And when a woman owns it, she becomes unstoppable, unshakable, and unmatchable. That is why confidence is not just a trait. It's the foundation of everything she deserves in life.